This is part 4, tape number 4, of our own private personal pharmacy, urine therapy. On this tape, we will be talking of speakers and practitioners that have gotten together for a forum in May 1999 for a second World Conference on urine therapy. The original World Conference was held in 1996 in Mumbai, India, which was called before Bombay, but now they've changed the name to Mumbai. This second World Conference was held in Germany. In the year 2003, in May of 2003, they will have a third World Conference in Rio de Janeiro. I just want to impress upon you that there are hundreds and hundreds of doctors from all over the world that are gathering and talking of the new sensations, the new testimonials that they have found with the use of urine therapy. This is not just a concoction of my own ideas. This is not just my craziness. We're talking about scientific proof, testimonial after testimonial, that this particular therapy works. It is without question that when these doctors get together and they have these conferences, it is like miracle after miracle is being told of how many, many patients have gone through allopathic means, other doctors that have tried everything possible that has been known. And when we get back to the basics of using urine therapy, it's like a miracle. They have been kicked out of the offices of the other allopathic doctors after years and years of trying to heal them. And it's not possible. They are told to go home and put their papers together and die. And then the patients find that they start the urine therapy, and within days, weeks, months, there's a total reversal of their problems. So let's start and find out how some of these doctors think as far as what in their country they have found urine therapy can do. The first doctor we'll talk about is Tara Ike from Queensland, Australia. She believes in holistic healing of body, mind, and soul. She says one also needs to know that the body does rejuvenate in a natural way every 12 months, including the bone structure. For instance, the liver creates totally new cells in 6 weeks, as Dr. Deepak Chopra and other great masters have taught us. With this consciousness, one has a chance to reverse any illness. Urine therapy helps detoxify the blood and to cleanse the organs, rejuvenate cells, bring about a hormonal balance, which in turn helps towards positive thinking and recreating our lives toward health, happiness, and the peace of mind and soul. Another doctor says, and her name is Ingeborg Allman from the Institute of Hemp Therapy. She's from Middle Biberach, Germany. She writes on the parallel uses of medicines. And this I really believe after reading this. She believes in drinking a lot of urine, you eat very little, try to eat alkaline foods, and drink throughout the day a lot of water or herbal teas. If possible, reduce the medicines to half. Go on doing this cure until you hopefully don't need the medicine anymore. But the medicine has to be reduced only one step, and in case the improvement condition doesn't remain, go back to your medicines. Further, it is also possible to change from the chemical to a non-chemical to the herbal means. After the healing, one should keep up 1 glass of morning urine as a form of additional treatment. Another doctor is from Saragossa, Spain, Dr. Joaquin Amat Lazar, MD. He talks about urea against cancer. He says the product, urea, acts in different but synergistic fields, regulating the circadian rhythm or tic-tac acidosis-alkalosis treating before the basic cancerous diseases which give rise to the tumor and prevents its growth. Our next doctor is Ludmilla D. Bardo, N.D., from Paris, France. She writes on Amalia and otorhinolaryngoligo. The anti-inflammatory effect of amaroli, and amaroli is another word for urine therapy, is obvious. It brings back health, relieves acute and chronic problems, and improves breathing functions. She says, I have been teaching this traditional medicine methods such as nasal douche, nasal touch, sutra neti for over 20 years now, and with great success. They promote health, joy, and better understanding of oneself. I am the author of the book, she says, called Health Through the Nose. Now we go on to Pater Renato Roque Barth from Cuiabá, Brazil. Urine therapy, herbs, fasting, and life energy tests. He says that the result in most cases of treatment are the same. After 2 weeks, 70% of the diseases have disappeared, and also 70% of the diseased organs showed complete improvement after healing. Dr. Christian Borescu, M.D., from Bucharest, Romania, says, I made this study in 1997, and it is based on some clinical observations made at the Medical Clinic No. 2, which belongs to the Colantina Clinic Hospital from Bucharest. An analysis of the data gathered during a period of 6 months encouraged us to consider urine therapy as a great hope in curing the patients suffering from hyper blood pressure and ischemic cardiopathy. Our next doctor is Martha Bocher, N.D., and Anelius Tak, N.D., from Amsterdam, the Netherlands. They write on detoxification and regulation of pH balance. Quite by chance, we have discovered that the most aggressive metabolites, those from the heavy metals, medication, insecticides, and other environmental toxins, are right here in the urine, available for the taking. It has long been known that an excess of unbroken down hormones from amino acids, ammonia, and urea are also found in urine. That is just what we want, since nothing is easier than to make a homeopathic medicine from one's own urine. Now we go to Dr. Catalin Buiu, Ph.D., from Bucharest, Romania. Talks about, despite this severe reaction of the authorities, thousands of enthusiastic disciples have started to practice urine therapy in our country. Now we go on to Dr. Stanislav Brzezinski, M.D. and Ph.D. He's at the Brzezinski Research Institute, Incorporated, in Houston, Texas, USA. If you watch the newspapers diligently, you'll have found that Dr. Brzezinski has been in court multiple times. The FDA has taken him back and tried to stop him from using urine therapy. He talks about antineoplastins and urine therapy. If you have cancer and you go to his clinic, the average charge is approximately $21,000 a month. He says antineoplastins are naturally occurring peptides, amino acid derivatives, and carbolic acids which control neoplastic growth. Medical use of urine and urine extracts have been known for centuries in ancient Egypt, Greece, Rome, India, and North and Central America. The research on urinary peptides has a long history and was initiated by the Polish researcher S. Boginski in 1897. Phase 2 studies in various forms of cancer in the United States and 2 studies have conducted in Japan have found the emphasis is placed on difficulties to treat malignancies such as brain tumors, cancer of the pancreas, stomach, esophagus, prostate, and kidneys. The actual cost of each injection is said to be approximately $8,000. Now let's go on to Dr. William Chacon, M.D., in Nicaragua. He says the kidneys are a wonder of nature. Concerning their structure and their several functions, many of which remain unknown even to the present-day scientists. Urine is a miraculous substance that has to be used with humility, but above all, with lots of love. We are able to produce the wonderful experience of cellular regeneration by constant irrigation. Now let's go on to Dr. Vayo Metev Christov, Ph.D., from Sofia, Bulgaria. He believes in urine therapy and fasting. He says because of the accumulation of the fatty tissues of most everyone on the planet of toxic debris, from petrocarbons to dioxin, DDT, urine therapy and fasting are unique methods from removing toxic chemicals locked into the average adult's cells, tissues, organs, storage, and bloodstream. Fasting and urine and distilled water cleanses the blood. Toxins are removed through the liver, skin, and the outbreath. Next, Dr. Henry Marie Clement, M.D., in Edelbrook, Luxembourg. He is talking on ferment-active delusions and their effect in this therapy. He says every single treatment against cancer which used something which was somehow related to the immune system is strictly taboo. It was even considered an act of heresy. And that's not only with urine therapy. But urine therapy is the easiest to use because it's our own private personal source. Next, from Mumbai, India, we talk to Dr. Nanumbai N. Dalwadi. He wants to talk of cancer and Shivambu. He says, with my 10 years practice in Shivambu, my observation is that patients come to urine therapy at a very late stage, thinking to try it as a last resource. They have undergone operations, radiation, or chemotherapy, metastasizing, and have formed, and they have very low immunity. In spite of all these negative points, if a patient starts urine therapy sincerely and vigorously and keeps the faith with positive thinking, he is bound to see improvement in his general health. He says, I do not claim that the urine therapy will improve 100% and cure them, but I assure you that the general health will be definitely improved. One gradually starts eating again and gets strength to sit up, stand, and walk. Urine therapy should be advised in all forms. First, the drinking of urine, all urine, whatever passes, or as much as possible. 2, you must do 4 days stored urine, which should be massaged to the whole body. 3, local application of urine in the form of cotton cloth packed, soaked in warm urine. And 4, urine enemas to clear rectum and colon where most of the toxins have accumulated. Next we hear from Dr. Oscar Alfred D. MD, from Buenos Aires, Argentina. He says, I've seen many cases, more than 200, between adults and children with astonishing results, and also some that were very discouraged, and believe that I am at the right moment to learn from more experienced colleagues and also to share some of my experiences from my work with children and their parents. Next we hear from Winfried Druck, ND and HP, from Zilbach, Germany. He talks on traditional urine diagnosis, what our morning urine can tell us. He says, my suggestion as to urine diagnosis is that everyone should take a serious look at his or her morning urine every now and then, thus trying to see more clearly for him that his health and emotional situation is like. Because urine forms a hologram, we now know that the urine not only tells something about the physical situation of our body, but also about the situation of the mind and the soul. Next, we hear from Mark Griffiths, La Serpente, France. He talks about from rock to amorale to reappraising AIDS. As a rock musician in London, he says, I was a chronic drug and alcoholic abuser from the age of 20 and specifically a heroin addict from 1978. He says, my journey of healing from fear of AIDS started with a diagnosis in 1986 carrying a 5-year death prognosis. He claims I had 2 intuitions. The first was, how can God create a condition that nature cannot heal? The second is, if I suppose to die, how would I like to live what's left of my life? I discovered a global approach to health which treats the whole person rather than attacking the symptoms. Along with a nutritional, emotional, mental, and spiritual apprenticeship, often with the support of a group, I discovered amorale, or urine therapy. He claims I now live in freedom, and I am just happy to be able to share my experience with others when necessary. Next we hear from Dr. Rui Holbom, Ph.D., from Kandam, Germany. He talks on urine therapy against cancer. The phenomenon of spontaneous healing from cancer is documented about 800 times in medical journals of this century, and the rate of spontaneous recovery from some types of cancer may be in the range of 1 to 1,000 to 1 to 100. However, spontaneous recovery has never been investigated systematically, and so-called alternative or unconventional treatments aimed at improving the rate of spontaneous recovery are not yet part of mainstream cancer treatment, which is still dominated by the classic triad chemotherapy, radiation, and surgery. The benefit of chemotherapy and radiation for most types of cancer with respect to long-term survival is marginal, very marginal. For this reason, the pharmaceutical industry is in the process to turn pace towards immunological means to treat cancers. Next we hear from Imanu El Abib from Jerusalem, Israel, on the spiritual aspects of urine. 1. Blood carries the life essence of all stages of evolution through the mineral, plant, and animal life to the human. 2. Medical scientists discovered that all foods, including urine, is initially attacked by the body until properly assimilated. Antigens of sickness in urine when drunk cause development of antibodies which then act against the sickness. Initial opposition stems from non-recognition of self. The enemy then becomes the healer. Translated in world politics, it could bring us peace. Make thine enemy thy friend. Make your urine your friend. 3. Our ancestors live in our cells, our blood, and our urine. We can honor and bless them and forgive whatever sins they may have committed when we bless our Lord and our urine before drinking it. Altogether, these aspects form a trinity, and ancestors symbolize the physical non-recognition of self, the mental and the blood of Christ, and the spiritual in all of us. Next, Dr. Adam Inque, M.D., in the Centro Latino Americano de Estudios Biosalud, Colonia, Universidad, Nicaragua. 10,000 clinical cases of cancer, diabetes, and other diseases have been treated with urine in Nicaragua that he has seen. The experiences that I had in my clinic in Nicaragua, more than 10,000 cases within a period of 8 years, a vast majority of cancer, diabetes, and other chronic diseases, had many more cases in 16 other countries of Latin America, and also the research that we did on cancer in cooperating with the University of Medicina de Villa Clara, Cuba. Cancer is nothing more than the result of the life that has been led. Let us fast forward this tape to the very end, flip over, and let's start again on the other side for the completion of some of the doctors from this World Congress. Next we go on to our doctors from the Second World Conference of Urine Therapy, May 1999, from Germany. Our next doctor is Dr. Prakash E. Joshi, M.D., in Pin, India. He talks on auto-urine therapy, the gift of Indian yogis to the world. He feels that an ancient country like our India is greatly inherited by sciences, music, philosophy, as well as many healing systems. And one of the greatest healing systems from India to give to the world is auto-urine therapy. Next, Young Tai Kim from Korea. He talks on the experiences of a pharmacist in Korea. He says, during 8 years as a pharmacist, as a manager of the pharmacy, I saw many positive results with urine fasting. I saw, for example, that it cured the hernia of an intervertebral disc on the waist and pain of shoulder, as well as that it was very helpful for C-type virus inflammation of the liver that has never been cured with modern medical sciences. Furthermore, eyes were brightened in people of age 60s, and teeth, face, and skin maintained a strong, healthy look as a person in their 30s. Another example is that of a pastor who, after 40 days of urine fasting, cured prostate cancer, diabetes, and obesity in his body alone. I've seen also one patient who had seen sick for 20 years taking prescription medicine from our pharmacy, and who has cured completely in only 45 days through the urine fasting. Our next doctor is Dr. Smund Knudsen, Ph.D. from Nefros, Norway. He talks on amoroli and psychology. He says maybe angels do not eat, do not eliminate, excrete, or urinate, but we do. We are not to pretend we are angels. We are here for a purpose, just the way we were made. So let us lift our cup of living water and drink to the health of nature. Next we will talk of Dr. Olniki Kors Gerlach, M.D., from Esslingen, Germany. He talks of urine as an information carrier. He says, this seems to be for me one of the greatest phenomenons of treating a patient with his or her own urine. In urine, the information on a disease appears as a perfect dextrorotary principle. Your urine carries your information. Do you understand why we say it's your own personal, private pharmacy? Next, we talk to Martin Lara from Brooklyn, New York, USA. He talks on what he feels is the universal remedy. Martin Lara explains the importance of learning how to monitor the body to identify and compensate for two common conditions that are responsible for causing 75% of the health problems affecting the average person. These problems are basic: auto-intoxication and dehydration. Next, Professor Dr. Medical Ryoichi Nakao, MD, from Tokyo, Japan. He talks on the mechanism of urine therapy. He says the fact that I was able to actually demonstrate the most important fact, that is, that there is no risk in drinking one's urine. It removes a barrier to its basic practical use. Briefly, urine can be viewed as a copy of the human body. It is thought when urine passes down the throat, sensor cells distinguish between disease types and heightens the natural healing powers of the body to deal with that particular disease condition. Next, we hear from Balkrishna Laxman Nalavadi, Katrad, India. He talks on health for all and the role of urine. It is generally seen that allopathic is tied first, and when it fails to cure, as it happens in most cases, other therapies are tried. Urine comes last. According to my experience of the last 30 years, I can assert that urine should be first. The treatment is inexpensive, free, effective, harmless, and safe as a household remedy. Next, we talk of Dr. Pierre Alvrard, MD, from the Congo. He talks about urine therapy in the Congo. He says we can state with confidence that the treatment with Amaroli can be applied very, very effectively. And one of our tasks, he says, as urine therapists, is to explain to ill people and their environment everything is in such a way that they will accept the treatment, which includes the drinking of urine wholeheartedly. Next, Dr. Sarang and Sashi Patel, MD, from Kolhampur, India. He talks on urine therapy and yoga. He says in yoga, drinking of urine is referred to as amaroli. Actually, the word medicine is derived from the Latin word medicina, which means the art of healing. Healing is defined as becoming or making sound or whole. Today, urine therapy and other natural modalities are taking their rightful place in the mainstream of healthcare because of the increased understanding of treating the entire person, the whole person, or even perhaps the whole society, in order to create the healthier world. Next, we were hearing from Cesar Prez Valero, Montevideo, Uruguay. He talks on personal experiences with urine therapy and my HIV status. He says, the HIV diagnosis was made in March 1997. I began drinking almost 1 liter of my urine per day. In this case, the healing began at the end of the first week, and herpes left my body 1 week later. Actually, my body now shows little scars and are slowly disappearing. I am drinking 1.5 liters of urine and fasting once a week. Also, an important result of many psychological changes occur. Control and emotion and anxiety help me in the communication with other people. Next, we hear from Dr. Maria de Fatima Asun Pimenta, MD, from Minas Gerais, Brazil. She talks on urine as a good nourishment. She says, 1. Urine as a good medicine is a good source of hormones, interleukins, and antibodies, and many other things. 2. Urine as a good nourishment is you feed yourself with urine, and it gives you everything that's needed. Next, Dr. John C. Rodriguez, Margao, India. He speaks on Amaroli, the occult practice of the ancient Aryans. Mother's milk provides even fresh and sterile food as instant notices to the infant. The mother's antibodies provide passive immunity to the infant till its own immune system develops. Just like the mother's milk provides instant and complete nutrition to the infant specific to its needs, nature or the Creator has provided in urine the natural biological product of specific remedy for the ailments suffered by humankind at any given period of time. Next we hear from Arturo Rossetti, Milano, Italy. He talks on urine therapy and fasting, my own experience with cancer. He says, since 1986 I suffered from prostate problems, but on October 1995 I went through the usual tests and now they found bladder cancer. I decided not to be operated. Among all of the possible natural cures, I chose urine therapy because it seemed to be the fastest possibility of cure. I came in contact with Dr. Schaller, and I begun a 28-day fast. At the end of those 28 days, I felt much better. I continued for another 2 weeks, 42 days in total. My weight became 10 kilograms less, but when the doctors did the usual checkup, can you believe that no cancer cells were to be found? I continued to drink my urine, and eventually even my chronic prostate problem was 90% solved. For me, diseases are here to teach us something, so we can understand our mistakes in life. Next, Dr. Roveri, MD, Torino, Italy, on behavioral chronology. He says the human body is one of the most sophisticated systems of creation. In it coexists patterns of self-regulation and self-control capable of maintaining the homeostasis, a product essential for the maintenance of life. The human body produces some parallel systems that mend certain physical or chemical damages, as with the most powerful in urine therapy. Next we hear from Dr. Kamataro Sano, MD, Japan. He talks on urine therapy and cancer. In recent world, it is very rare to see medical institutes which have accepted the urine therapy as a mode of treatment to its patients. In Japan, our clinic is the very first medical institute to do so. Next, we hear from Victoria Semi. She's at the Center of Alternative Therapies in Loeza, Bia, Tanzania. She talks on some AIDS cases with UT treatments, UT being urine therapy. I have also been advising, she says, many Tanzanians to treat different diseases using UT, such as those who have diabetes, ulcers, malaria, etc., and to drink urine for prevention of different diseases. In each of the above, UT, urine therapy, has worked very, very well in our center. Next we hear from Dr. Jabdip Shah, MD, and Dr. Sadhana Shah, MD, from Mumbai, India. They talk about the scientific foundations of urine therapy. They say that urine contains immunological active substances which fight viral and bacterial infections and boost the immunological potential even if one is immunologically weak, as in the case with AIDS, cancer, or any debilitating illness. However, urine is a powerful cleansing agent and detoxifies and eliminates all poisonous elements. Next we hear from Jos Talavera and Norma Talavera, San Jose, Costa Rica. Medicina Agradable, a case history. Medicina Agradable is an agreeable medicine. The young man that was sent home by the doctors from the hospital in San Juan de Dios, Costa Rica, as a hopeless case to die peacefully at home, was checked again after a period of our treatment of urine therapy by the same doctors. This time they were not able to trace the virus anymore. Stunned, not able, they proclaimed that this was not possible, and they turned to other hospitals and even to the Ministry of Health, since they thought their readings were said to be wrong or false. But also, there the test results were HIV negative from a man who was dying. Next we hear from Carmen Thomas, Germany. He calls urine a very special juice. He says from cleaning windows to fertilizing plants, from making cheese to hardening iron, from gargling against throat ache, removing warts, healing wounds real fast, to curing neurodermatitis and diseases of the stomach and intestine. You can read it all in her book. It's called A Special Juice, Urine. Next, we hear from Harold Tetzi, Australia. And urine therapy by the natives of Australia and in South Africa. He says the Aborigines of Australia used urine for healing like all other or most other natives from other continents. Since most of the land of Australia is desert, urine was often used the only way to survive the journeys through that endless land. Next, Shil Vazadze from the Republic of Georgia. He talks on 20 years' experience with urine therapy treatment. He says, I have been suffering from diabetes for more than 26 years now. In the beginning of my disease, things were deteriorating really fast. Soon the first signs of gangrene appeared on my toes. My toe turned black and started to rot. I felt threatened by the possibility of unbearable pain and even amputation. I didn't wait any longer, and I started with urine therapy, about which I had heard several things already. I did what I thought was right, and the results absolutely were astonishing. After a week, I was healed as far as the gangrene was concerned. Can you believe? Doctors in the family who had seen my toe couldn't believe their eyes, for they were ready to cut it off. Now, after 20 years have passed, I am doing very well, and presently I am advising people very well. And presently I am advising about urine therapy on a professional level to everyone I am in contact with. Lastly, we hear from Freshly Squeezed Urine Good for You, and the source was taken from Reuters in Goa, India. This article claimed that more than 600 scientists representing 17 nations gathered for the first World Conference on Auto Urine Therapy held in Western India. They presented research Evidence that human urine can have healing powers and be very efficient against cancer, hepatitis B, influenza, diabetes, and even AIDS. Yes, urine can cure AIDS. Yes, urine can cure cancer. Vice General Manager of the Long Life Biomedical Company Limited, Dr. Min Cheng Lao, had said. Many of the attendees to this conference drink their own urine and use it for body massages. Dr. Shigeru Ari of Japan has studied 1,752 people who practiced urine therapy. 60% of his patients reported that their symptoms have disappeared, and as much as 73% in the case of cancer patients say that many patients on auto urine therapy recovered from serious illness. Dr. Ryoichi Nakao, chairman of Japan's Miracle Cup of Life Institute, said about 200,000 Japanese, as much as 5 million Germans, are gargling with their own urine. Several doctors claim that urine therapy can ease the painful symptoms associated with AIDS. Some doctors remain skeptical of the therapy, however. They all agree more research has to be done. And again, that was from Reuters, from Goa, India. Ladies and gentlemen, I cannot believe that if you have a reversion of urine therapy at this point, by just listening to all these, sooner or later, if you get yourself into a situation of having problems with your health deeply that others cannot help you with, others cannot get you into a method of becoming better or reversing your diseases. With the help of your allopathic doctors, ask them to at least be able to help you get involved with trying this. This is something that's free, and this is something that if you try this on a definite, constant basis, and most important, if you get involved with deep-seated problems, cancers, prostate problems, arthritis, asthma, things of that nature, it has been said to me many, many times from many doctors all over the world that the two most important factors are the consumption of your urine along with fasting. Fasting is very important on the basis that do you watch that any time that your pets get sick, have you noticed that when they get sick, they don't run and eat more, they stop eating. When a child is young, you've also noticed that when he gets sick or she gets sick, they stop eating. They don't have a craving for any more. That's a natural commitment. That is perfection. When you have problems, you fast. You clean out your system. Along with that, you get involved with the consumption of urine, which will give you back the strengths, give you back the salts, the enzymes, the vitamins, the minerals that your body needs during that fast. I am a very lucky person, I believe, that I have been capable of finding this particular therapy. Okay, at this time, fast forward and we'll go on to the next tape. Thank you very much, and see you on the next tape.